Yeah, it's going to be different, right? One of the biggest things for the competitors is that on a normal race weekend, we've got practice, hours of practice. We've got qualifying. There's going to be none of that. The drivers are going to show up, and their first lap on track is going to be taking the green flag into turn one at Darlington, which is historically one of the toughest tracks that we go to. So it's really going to put the onus on the drivers and the teams to be prepared. Your preparation is going to be one of the biggest things. And then also on the drivers to sort of, take that first run or two at 80%, which is unusual because these are race car drivers, right? We like to go flying off as fast as we can and be the one leading, but you're going to have to be smarter because this is really going to put an onus on your preparation and just how much you've really been able to get that car as perfect as it can be without it ever hitting the racetrack.
I just referenced the NFL draft ratings. I mean, they were up 2 and 3x because I would imagine there was nothing else on. There's actually a big opportunity here, I would imagine, for NASCAR. There's people who may have never watched a NASCAR race. Racing ain't sports. But now they're desperate for any new content. There is a chance for NASCAR to gain a big new customer base here, I would imagine.
No doubt there is. And, I think we saw that with the iRacing races that we did, right? With the Pro Invitationals, where there was something like over 1.4 million people that had not tuned into a NASCAR race this year that watched those events that were so cool and so realistic for the fans and really opened people's eyes up to what esports can do for the sport and the simulation side. So I think there is a huge opportunity for racing. And, in the last, I'd say, decade for motorsports, we've really sort of fallen off that national consciousness a little bit. And I think this is an opportunity for NASCAR and motorsports in general to maybe catch some new fans, some fans out there that maybe have slipped away from the sport and obviously be at center stage. And, the eyes of the world are going to be watching this event. And I think it's really important for the sport, to represent everyone well and to set a good example. So I think that's something that NASCAR, the competitors, everyone understands, that a lot of eyes are on this and that there's this huge opportunity to get new fans into the sport that hopefully will stick around when we're past all this as we continue in the season.
We're showing video of virtual racing, iRacing, which I know you do. A lot of the drivers have done. I've tried it out. I mean, it came up huge. It looks incredibly realistic. You don't have to travel. It doesn't cost a lot. There's no risk of injury. It's boomed, but as real racing comes back, Parker, what do you think is going to happen with virtual racing? Will it be able to maintain sort of that level of momentum that it has had?
I believe so. I've been a huge supporter of the esports initiative in motorsports, working with iRacing, actually own a team in the top iRacing series, which is the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. And I think that's the sort of thing that will definitely continue and benefit from the momentum. We saw the viewership of those races, which is sort of the top races for sim racers out there, no real life racers, double over this time. So there's definitely been increased interest. The Pro Invitationals have opened so many people's eyes to what, how realistic it is and having the real drivers do it and talking about it. So that's been massive. And I think it's just one of those things that motorsports has the most to gain from this esports push out of any of the major sports because you have this huge financial barrier of entry into motorsports for most people. And what you have with simulation racing is you're lowering that financial barrier of entry to almost nothing. It's a couple $100 for a wheel and pedal set and a computer, and you're out there racing and could effectively make it to becoming a professional racer at the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series with just that small investment, which historically has just not existed for motorsports. So I think it can really open up motorsports to a huge new base of participants that just weren't there before. So I absolutely think it will continue. We were already seeing a lot of growth in that realm. iRacing was experiencing a lot of growth. Obviously, this accelerated with everything in the Pro Invitational, but I definitely believe it will continue, and I'm going to continue to support it. And I'm going to keep iRacing. And I know for the drivers that are heading to Darlington this weekend, that's one of the tools they're going to use is iRacing. They're going to get on there. They're going to run some laps.
Yeah.
They're going to go off with turn one, and that's going to be a big part of it.